Ken Whiting with Paddle TV, and in this video, we're talking about the top 5 kayak upgrades. When I talk about upgrading your kayak, what I'm not really talking about is taking your kayak and upgrading it, because that's actually very limiting. There's not too much you can do, and that's why it's so important that you choose the right kayak from the outset. What I'm really talking about in this video is the top 5 reasons to choose an upgraded kayak when you buy the kayak to begin with. And now some of these upgrades will cost not that much money. Others can cost a small fortune. And so it really comes down to what you need from a kayak and what your budget is. So let's jump right into it. The first reason to upgrade your kayak. The first kayak upgrade we're going to look at is the foot support system. Now, there are really 2 primary foot support systems. You have foot wells, which this kayak has, and then you have foot pegs or foot braces, which this kayak has. Now, there is a third type of foot support system called a bulkhead, which is a big wall that your feet go against, but that's reserved for more specialty kayaks, and so we're not really going to go into that here. What we're going to talk about right now is why you'd want to upgrade from foot wells to foot pegs or braces. Now let's start by talking about the purpose of foot supports, because that will help you better understand the benefits of upgrading. There are really 2 primary purposes for foot supports. The first is to hold your legs in a comfortable bent position. Without any type of foot support, your legs will want to just straighten, and sitting with your legs straight, unless you have like a gymnast's flexibility, that's not a comfortable position. So having something nice and firm to put your feet against keeps your knees bent, much more comfortable position for a day of paddling. The second reason for foot supports is it's something to push on while you're paddling, and that provides not only more power, but more comfort for active paddling. More specifically, when you're taking a forward stroke, you're actually pushing on the foot support that's on the same side of the kayak as your stroke is. A lot more power comes from that. Now, foot wells are the cheapest solution because there's no extra hardware involved here. They're simply molded right into the kayak. Now, the downside of foot wells is in this kayak, there's only 3 positions for your feet. And so there's not a lot of flexibility there. Invariably, with your leg length, you're going to want to be somewhere in between, and you just can't be there. But that really isn't the biggest issue with foot wells. The biggest issue is the fact that it provides support on the bottom and the outside edge of your foot. And so when I apply pressure, you can see the foot is rolling. The pressure is put on the ankle because I'm not pressing straight down. Force isn't coming straight up my leg. Ideally, you have the pressure underneath the ball of your foot so that you get that power, or the pressure is straight up your leg. Now, foot pegs or foot braces are a nice upgrade for a few reasons. For one, they're not infinitely adjustable. This one has 15 different settings, but just like that, I can find the right setting for me. And when it comes to support, the support is under my foot, nice and high where I want it to be. So now when I push on that foot pedal, my ankle isn't being tweaked, that force is being put straight up my leg. Now, the second of the top 5 upgrades is your seat. Because an upgraded seat not only makes it more comfortable to paddle, it makes it more comfortable not to paddle, to lounge. Now, upgrading your seat kind of depends on the type of kayak you're using, and so let's start by looking at a sit-on-top kayak. When it comes to upgrading your kayak seat, there really are 2 distinct options. You have no seat, just sitting on the kayak, and then you have a framed seat. A seat or no seat, which most entry-level kayaks have. Some of them don't have any padding whatsoever. You're just sitting on the kayak itself, and that's obviously quite hard. This kayak here, the Perception Pescador, has a small upgrade. It's got a pad to sit on. Doesn't change the fact that you're sitting on the kayak. The contour of the kayak isn't going to be great for every butt. Water is going to pool there. and you're gonna have a wet butt. Almost always, you're gonna have a wet butt with a seating system like this. There's real reasons right there alone to upgrade to a frame seat. Now, the benefits of a frame seat are many. For one, you're not sitting on the kayak, you're raised, and that does two things. For one, it means you're not sitting in a pool of water. You're off the bottom of the kayak. The second thing it does is it raises your butt higher than your heels. And whenever your butt is higher than your heels, it's a more natural sitting position. It tends to be a lot more comfortable for people. This frame seat also is more of like a suspension seat. It really distributes, it conforms to your butt. So it accommodates different body sizes and body shapes a lot better than just sitting on the kayak itself. It supports you a lot more, not just when you're paddling, but maybe more importantly, when you're not paddling. This one actually even has here, there's an added lumbar support, which is a really nice bonus, which you can't really do as easily with a non-frame seat. Another benefit of the frame seat is that it can come off completely, and now you've got a camp chair. That's a nice little perk. Now, some frame seats are integrated with boats in a way that you have high-low seating options too. And what that means, and this boat has it, this is the Jackson Kayak Coosa HD, and it's designed so that you can put the seat into the high position. A high sitting position like this, it does raise your center of gravity, and so it makes it a little bit more unstable. But this kayak was designed for that. And most sit on top kayaks, well, all sit on top kayaks that have a high-low sitting position are designed to be stable in the high position. Now, a couple of the benefits of a high sitting position. For one, it's a more natural sitting position, and so it's going to be more comfortable for spending a full day on the water. The other thing that's great about sitting up high is that you have a higher vantage point. And so for kayak anglers in particular, people who want to be able to see what's going on underwater, having that higher vantage point, especially if you have a pair of polarized sunglasses, is huge. You can see so much more of what's going on. For kayak anglers as well, standing up and sitting back down from a higher position is way easier to do. And these kayaks are typically designed, especially the fishing kayaks, to be stood up in. So that's how you upgrade a sit on top kayak. Let's head over to some sun to check out how to upgrade the seats of a sit inside kayak. Now, entry level sit inside kayaks typically just have a plastic seat pan, sometimes with foam on it, and that can do the trick if you're just going out for a short period of time. But if you want to give your butt some extra love, then the two styles of seats we have here can really do the job. Now, this is the Bonafide EX123. This kayak is a sit inside kayak that has a framed seat integrated into it. Now, that's not a super common thing yet, but I think we're going to see more and more of this. Comfortable, it's more of a suspension seat. It conforms to more body types and shapes. You have higher back support here, nice high back support. And you're raised, you're off the bottom of the boat. And typically sit inside kayaks are a lot drier than sit on top kayaks, but still, if you do get water in the boat or the boat starts even a little bit wet, this seat isn't going to hold water. It's a drier ride. Now, the Wilderness Systems Pungo has a different type of seat. It's not a removable seat. This is what they call the Phase 3 Air Pro seating system. And it's more of a seat pan, a padded seat pan with a nice bonus. And the bonus is under leg support. By simply pulling on this strap, you get support under your legs, and for even a short paddle, but certainly a long day of paddling, it's incredible how much of an upgrade that is to your comfort on the water. I love having under the leg support. The other nice bonus about the Phase 3 Air Pro seat is that it has an adjustable back support. Now, touring kayaks or sea kayaks are designed with more performance in mind. And so a seat really should hold your butt in place and allow you to put the kayak on edge. Because when a touring kayak or a sea kayak, when it gets put on edge, that's how you deal with wind, that's how you deal with waves, and that helps you steer as well. And so having good control and good edge control is really important. And you gain control from better seats. And so we have 3 touring kayaks here to look at. We have the Feel Free Aventura 125, which is more of an entry-level touring kayak. We have the Dagger Stratus 14.5, which is more of a mid-range touring kayak. And we have the P&H Sea Kayaks Virgo, which is a higher-end touring kayak. And we're going to take a quick look at the seats in each of these and how they've upgraded them. Now, the Feel Free Aventura 125 is more of an entry-level touring kayak, and the seat, not just the seat, but the seating system is more entry-level. You've got a basic seat pan, and it's nice and padded with this quick drying fabric. That's great. One thing you'll notice about this seat is that it doesn't have any specific hip support here, so your butt still can move a little bit side to side. It also has thigh hooks here. These aren't aggressive thigh hooks. They're quite flat here. So they do provide some knee support, thigh support, but not a ton. Let's take a look at what they've upgraded on the Dagger Stratus. So the Dagger Stratus seating system. Well, the difference here, a few differences. It's got a lower back band. This isn't designed as much for lounging. It's designed more for paddling, performance paddling. Provides nice low back support. It's got a seat pan, a padded seat pan, which is really nice. And it's got hip pads, which you can adjust by putting foam shims in here, depending on your butt size. Now, the other thing this has, which is I love, is under leg support. I can pull up on the straps on both sides here. That's an extreme example, but now I've got support under my legs. That goes a long way to providing a comfortable paddling experience for a long day on the water. It also has more aggressive thigh hooks here. They're cupped more to provide better control over the kayak. One thing to note about this thigh hook is when I put pressure on it, if I pull up on my knee, you can see the flex that's happening in the deck. Now, while it's an more aggressive thigh hook, I am losing some performance because there's flex here. And that's something you'll see that they've dealt with in the Virgo, which we're going to now take a look at. Now, the P&H Virgo's seating system is very similar to the Stratus. It's got a seat pan with a nice comfortable seat pad over top, a low-lying back band. It has hip pads here, adjustable. You can just add more foam in there to fit your butt. The big difference is in the thigh hooks here. These thigh hooks, again, they're nice and aggressive. They're cupped, so they're gonna really hold your knee or leg very well, but they've designed it so that it's got way more support there. The whole kayak isn't flexing as you pull on it. That means any power you're applying to your knees is directly transferred to the boat's performance. And that's why this is an upgraded seating system. And if you're doing higher performance paddling, it's very important. The third way to upgrade your kayak is definitely the most expensive way to upgrade your kayak, and that's choosing a kayak made with different materials. Now, the reason to choose different materials or to upgrade the materials that your kayak is made from is really to make it lighter, which makes it easier to transport, and it actually makes it feel a bit more lively on the water, and to increase its performance. The base option is a polyethylene kayak, which is basically just a plastic kayak. That's what most kayaks are made from. They're rotomolded or blow molded plastic. Now, the great thing about rotomolded kayaks or plastic kayaks is that they are very durable. They will last a long time. Now, the downside of a plastic or polyethylene kayak is that it's heavy. It also has some flex to it, which just reduces its performance a little bit. If you want to upgrade, the next step up is something called a thermoformed kayak. Now, thermoformed kayaks are made from a lighter, thinner plastic, or ABS, and they mold two pieces of the kayak, the top and the bottom, and then they weld them together, and you end up with a lighter kayak and a stiffer kayak than a rotomolded kayak. The downside of a thermoformed kayak is that they are not quite as durable as a rotomolded kayak. You have to take better care of them. Now, if you want to take things to the ultimate level, you're getting into composites like fiberglass, carbon, and Kevlar. These composite kayaks are, in many cases, beautiful works of art, but you pay for them. The benefits of composite kayaks are that they're much stiffer. They also tend to be lighter. That stiffness and that lightness translates to better performance and easier transportability. Now, the downside of composite boats is that you have to take care of them. And it doesn't mean they're like these super fragile boats that you have to be uber sensitive with, but you do have to take care of them. The fourth of the top 5 kayak upgrades is this, or these suckers right here. These are replaceable skid pads. So, I mean, the reality is kayaks are heavy, and sometimes you're going to drag your kayak around. I mean, I drag my kayaks around all the time. Some people would be horrified to hear that, but I do. And a lot of you do as well. Don't pretend that you don't. These things make it a lot more reasonable to drag your kayak around because you're not going to be wearing on the kayak itself, and you really can over time, especially if you're dragging over rough surfaces, wear a hole in your kayak. But once these things start to wear down, heck, you just replace them. Now, an upgrade to the replaceable skid pad is this bad boy right here, actually having an integrated wheel for one person to drag this kayak. Now, this is the Native Watercraft Falcon 11. Not many kayaks have this. Most kayaks, if you want this, the upgrade you have to do is an actual kayak cart, which is a great upgrade, and that upgrade applies to any kayak. You don't need to buy a kayak specifically that has a wheel. You can get a kayak cart. This is a cool feature on this kayak because it's integrated. The fifth and final top 5 kayak upgrade is a portable kayak. Now, for some people, having a kayak that's highly transportable and easily stored is not just a bonus, it's essential. And in that case, it's an upgrade. It's not so much an upgrade, but a necessity. But for other people, carrying around a full-size kayak or transporting around a full-size kayak is just, it's a major hurdle to getting out on the water. And the same thing goes for storing a kayak. Storing a full-size kayak can be a real challenge. And so in those cases, a portable kayak makes a lot of sense, but you do pay a premium for a portable kayak over a hardshell kayak. And you pay that premium in 2 ways. Financially, they cost more. When you look at a hardshell kayak versus a comparable portable kayak, the hardshell kayak is going to be cheaper. On top of that, the hardshell kayak, as a general rule, will perform better than the portable kayak. That's the price you pay for portability. On the flip side, you get a portable kayak, and portable kayaks tend to be lighter than hardshell kayaks. And even if it isn't lighter, moving around, let's say a 50-pound kayak that's in a backpack is a whole lot easier than moving around a 50-pound kayak that it's 14, 15 feet long. It just is. And so even if it isn't lighter, it's a lot easier to manage. Well, there you have it, the top 5 kayak upgrades. I'm Ken Whiting with Paddle TV. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below. Let me know, well, whether you like this video, but more importantly, what other tips or top 5s you'd like to see. Stay tuned. because we got lots more paddling stuff coming your way.